Welcome to the Hamumu Halloween Home Horror Hoedown, the podcast where we watch scary movies so you don't have to.
From award-winning to completely unknown, we take them all way too seriously.
I'm your host, Mike Hommel.
And I'm your host, Solange Hommel.
Now, warning, we use a ghoulish number of spoilers, so watch the movies first.
Second warning, we don't know anything about anything, so don't take us seriously as we take these movies seriously.
So, heard and seen anything lately?
Here's the thing. I know that that's a pun on the title of the movie, and I know that you just said the title of the movie like 10 minutes ago, and I still don't remember what the title of the movie is.
This is the life of the
It's a bad sign for this episode.
Things Heard and Seen from 2021.
Things Heard and Seen.
Based on a book with some title like Heard Things and Seen Things. It was different, but very similar.
Yeah. So once again, we are dangerously close to the line between thriller and horror.
I know.
Do you think this one falls on the correct side of that line for this podcast?
Well, my memory of the movie is all about the drama, but when I really think to specific scenes, there were, flickering lights and a ghost appearing in the chair and things like that. Like throughout the movie, these things happened.
The tablecloth floated through the room.
I forgot that part.
There was definitely supernatural.
Was a seance. Oh, I know. There was a lot of supernatural.
Yes, which I think is truly one of the dividing lines between thriller and horror. There's no supernatural in a thriller. A thriller is about real life scariness.
But horror can also be about real life scariness.
No, I know, but if it has supernatural element, it then has to be horror. Mm-hmm. Because a horror can be either, and a thriller can really only be one.
Can it? Is there no thrillers with ghosts?
I think the idea of a thriller is that it's somebody who's messing with you. Like maybe it looks like there's ghosts, but it's like Scooby-Doo Town where it's, somebody in a cheesy mask using projectors.
And then they can say, "You meddling kids."
Exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely a thriller.
Like this isn't supernatural, but like there's also the line of like mental health issues where in a horror, maybe someone is actually being tormented by like visions and things because of their mental health. Even if it's not supernatural, there's like a mental health element that is causing them to have hallucinations and whatnot. And in a thriller, it's more that they are being made to think they're having hallucinations. And again, it turns out that it's someone who is setting them up or gaslighting them or, in some way making them seem crazy when they're not.
I mean, it seems unfair to not allow people with mental illness to be in thrillers.
I mean, I don't know that I'm drawing, I don't know that I'm putting up a gate. I'm not gatekeeping thrillers for mental health people, now. But that's the thing that the difference in the story is that the one is the person is really suffering from a mental health issue and the other is the person is being tricked into having a mental health issue.
Often they're not suffering from a mental health issue. They're being possessed or tormented by a ghost or something.
I know. I'm saying horror can be all of these things, and thriller is very specifically not some of these things.
I see.
And I think this one, because of the ghost elements, the very cheesy 80s, like school senior photo elements where there's like, one of you and then like a floating ghost version of you looking at yourself. That's
ghost of all.
That's what I was reminded of when we had the scenes where the two ghost ladies were standing next to each other.
Yeah. So that's kind of my overarching take with this movie is that it was all about the drama. And I think at every point it would have been a better movie if the ghosts had just sat back and not gotten into the camera. Leave them out of it and just let's hear about what a beanbag this guy is.
Yeah, this would have made a great thriller.
Yeah. I mean, effectively, it was a thriller, except that at the end he was ghostly destroyed.
This was a very human bad guy being stopped by ghost heroes, which I guess is kind of a flip from the norm.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this story is about a family. Wow. I almost said it's not even really a family because it's just a husband and wife.
Oh, you're one of those. Yeah.
Which, wow.
Good heavens. They have a kid.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did.
That was the whole center of everything.
Oh, okay. So it is really a
It's a
family
real
because there's a
family.
child involved.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I've ever been quite so aware of my socialization coming out of my mouth in opposition to what I truly believe as in that moment when I just accused us of not being a family.
We're not a family.
Anyway, what I was trying to say was that it was just a couple, that it wasn't a large family, but I'm wrong because there was a child, but she was so unimportant to the story that I forgot she existed.
She was very important to the story many times over.
How?
It all centered around her and like
The child?
yes, she was there watching her dad cheat on somebody and she revealed it to somebody and the somebody in both cases was the wife.
Secondary. She revealed it after the librarian had already revealed it. The wife found the library book and was returning it. It was like, oh, my husband's library book is overdue.
That's true.
And the librarian is like, oh, no, that book is checked out to Willis somebody or another. And when that didn't mean anything, she's like, you know, that name could be a man or a woman.
Which, what you talking about? Because I never heard of that.
But also, like, still, in that instance, I would have just been like, okay. Like, I don't know that I would have immediately gone to, oh my gosh, my husband's having sex with
but
someone
that's
else.
because you don't have that kind of husband.
That's very true. But it wasn't until after the librarian had like given all the necessary information that then the little girl is like, oh, that's daddy's friend. Girl, tell your mom these things when they happen, not weeks later.
Yeah, useless child.
Useless child. Okay, when else is she important in the story?
The ghost keeps appearing in her room and she's like, mommy, I saw a ghost. And it's all about that. And then she's got to go sleep in the room with the girl to make her less scared. It's just, it's a whole, she's quite entangled in this mess.
Okay, but also it feels like if we took her out of the story, nothing would have changed. Because the wife was still seeing the ghost on her own, too. And found the haunted ring and, like...
Yeah, she did find a haunted ring. I don't know. It is terrible of you to disregard this poor child. Who's being tormented by ghosts.
Yeah, okay. But also, I didn't feel like that character was a real character. Like, I don't really know anything about that girl other than she was used for those story plot things that in my mind weren't even all that important to the story. So, I don't know. But I also was much more focused on what the dad/husband was up to because he was up to no good in so many ways.
In every way, so much more than any normal bad person. This movie worked for me. Like, I was really dialed in and like totally on point. And I didn't realize it until this morning, the reason why. Because this morning I was watching TikToks and it kept sending me to Reddit story TikToks, which is probably because I keep watching them. And I am obsessed with all of these ways, especially Smosh.
AITA stories.
Yeah, like I don't go to Reddit, I don't read these stories, but I love all the things where people tell me the stories. And then I get so excited when it's like, oh, and there's an update. And like, woo, what's that going to be? And it's the drama of people being terrible and just going, oh, how can they be so terrible? And this guy was worse because of the murders, the multiple murders.
There were a lot of murders. Yeah. I mean, he started out bad and just kept getting worse because he was a walking red flag. He was the kind of guy who like always had backhanded compliments. Everything he said and every response he had to anyone who said something about his wife was always like negative, but pretending not to be, but very clearly negative.
Yeah, well, there was a whole big thing throughout the movie is that she was bulimic and dealing with it. Like she was taking medication, I think, to try to handle it. And he was very kindly and appropriately encouraging her to drink her protein drink. And that became a weird control issue.
Especially since he was also the one who would occasionally tell her she looked like a fat cow.
Yeah. It was all a part of,
Yeah. She wasn't handling it very well. Like from the beginning, the first thing we see of it is that she is not being successful in avoiding her more dangerous self-harming tendencies. But yeah, he was pretending to be supportive while also being a large part of the problem.
Yeah.
And then we just keep finding out more and more fun things about him. We find out that the amazing paintings that everyone thinks are so great that he did, that he, he's put that part of his life behind him
He
now.
identifies as a writer now.
Yeah, but turns out he didn't do those paintings. His cousin did those paintings and he stole them.
And we have no proof, but pretty sure he murdered his cousin.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then he has this job as a professor at the college, right? And first of all, we're like, oh, he's just a, crappy professor because he's one of those middle-aged professors hitting on, very young female students, which is gross enough. And then we find out that he faked the letter of recommendation that got him that job in the first place.
Yeah.
And that the reason he needed that job was because he had been fired from the previous job for exactly the same thing. I think
that's what was so fun in this movie was, at the beginning, he seems like kind of a jerk, but it's all working out fine. They're moving to the new place. He's got the new job. He seems very successful. And then just the movie is just twist after twist of revealing what's so much worse about what he's really doing underneath it all.
It's sort of like the audience is following the path that the other professor, that like fiber arts teacher who becomes a friend of his wife, we follow the same path she follows, where like at first it's like, oh, this guy, his students love him, whatever. He definitely like pinged something in her head that was like, I feel off about him, but there's nothing, whatever. It's probably just my internal prejudice against older men who teach younger women and are hero worshipped, whatever. But then like she starts to learn all of these things and she starts to see how he treats his wife and then learning bits and pieces of information. And we're following that same arc. And it is definitely an interesting arc to follow.
It is.
As long as it's not going to result in you being driven off the road into a tree or otherwise murdered by this guy. Who definitely was not afraid to murder people if they were about to cause him problems.
Yeah, he murdered the head of his college section. He tried to murder Justine, the woman.
The fiber arts teacher.
And he murdered his wife.
Which I was not expecting. I really
twist.
thought she was going to be like the, quote unquote hero of the movie. Like that she was the protagonist who was going to make it to the end and defeat her husband. But no.
Well, yes, except for surviving to the end.
Yeah, but is that really like, it's revenge, but have you defeated him so much as just gotten revenge on him?
Yes.
And is there a difference there?
He was defeated by being trapped in a painting forever, just like in The Painted, which we reviewed a couple weeks ago.
Do you think he was trapped in that painting forever? Or was that a transition showing that they made this thing happen and then somebody created a piece of artwork memorializing it?
No, I think that's a real piece of artwork of some ancient religious painting. I think they were just showing it, and I don't know whether that means he's in some weird limbo or if he just went out to sea and died. It's very strange.
Yeah,
they left it very ambiguous at the end, because the weird thing at the end, and I guess it's the ghosts controlling him, is that he desperately wanted to take his boat out, and the guy at the dock was like, no, you can't take this out, the taxes aren't up to date or something. And so he just handed him a bunch of $100 bills and was like, hey, let me do this. So like desperately trying to get his boat out to sea for no reason that we were aware of, and he just goes and sails off into the sea, and that's all we know about him, other than that it transitions to this painting of him. Oh, and also, as he sails out to sea, we see it kind of turning into the painting that's at the center of the whole movie of somebody's soul going to heaven or whatever, that religious painting, and the sky being fiery.
Right. The there's the reference at some point. Oh, when he takes all his students to the museum in the big city.
Oh, that part too. Yes.
And they're asking him questions and he's like, oh, if you look at such and such, painting 2 in the series, you'll see that it's him, blah, 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 because his hands are no longer on the tiller of the boat, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and
so he's not in control of his life or something.
Yes. And so as he's like sailing out into the ocean to die, they definitely flashed. There wasn't a moment where I saw his hands not on the tiller, but they definitely like focused in on his hands on the tiller.
Yeah, I think they were kind of all over the place. There was some offness.
Yeah. There was a lot of symbolism in this movie, but it was like, I don't know how to describe it. It was cheesy is maybe the word that I'm looking for. It was very Mary Higgins Clark symbolism.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right?
That's probably what the book was like.
And I say that with all the love in my heart for Mary Higgins Clark. I actually truly love a Mary Higgins Clark book because it is a thriller and it is also like a beach read thriller. Like you don't have to try hard to understand what's going on. Or like maybe you would have to try hard because it's all a little not quite there, but you also don't because it doesn't matter if the symbolism is real or not. Because really you're just wanting to get the mystery solved.
Yeah, it's kind of heavy-handed, but I don't know, in a weird way. They're just kind of like, this guy's being evil, so here's a religious painting. Like that's relevant to good and evil. Right.
Oh, another good example. It also had like a Da Vinci Code kind of feel.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, I guess what it is that there's symbolism that's written for people who understand the information to help them decode the symbolism. And then there's symbolism that's written for people where the authors know the people aren't necessarily going to have the prerequisite information to decode the symbolism. And so they just make it very simple.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing that to something like the Cryptonomicon, which also has a lot of symbolism in it. But Neil Stephenson is like, he knows this stuff. He writes the books with the symbolism in it. And he's like, if you want to know what this means, you're going to have to go learn something. Yeah. Like he's asking people to meet him where he's writing his symbolism. Whereas I think like the Da Vinci Code and Mary Higgins Clark books and that style of writing, the author probably knows more about it than it shows up in the book because they are coming down to meet their audience.
They know their audience.
Yeah.
And to transition from beanbag discussion to ghost discussion, the ghosts in this movie kind of meet that same sort of style, which is they're like Lifetime original movie ghosts. They're not weird haunting things. They're just transparent people who like whisper inspirational speeches at you. Like
I'd sometimes say your name in spooky ways from outside in the hall.
Yeah, there's nothing super weird and creepy. There's just sort of, we're here and we want to help you, except there's also an evil one, which I think was maybe the guy from the first relationship. I don't know.
Either from the first relationship or the second. Because there were 3 women, all of whom got murdered in this house.
Yeah.
But only the 2 of them, for some reason, there were only 2 ghosts. The old lady and the new lady.
The oldest.
Oh, I thought that was the oldest and it was the middle one who was missing.
Oh, now I don't actually know, but I thought it was the middle, but
it could be.
Now I don't know.
It could be the middle. I don't know. But somehow these like dead women's spirits were joining together to be able to control.
Yes, with the help of the new girl that he just murdered, they are now strong enough to stick him in a painting.
Yes. So, I mean, the whole overall story was like these women were all being controlled by the men in their lives, and eventually they became strong enough. Now they can control the men who are in this house.
Yeah.
What I don't know is, does this mean that now the curse is broken and this isn't going to keep happening in this house, or now they are strong enough? And so these couples or families might still be drawn to this house, but these ghost women are going to protect the women.
Maybe. They really blew over the fact that they like tried to communicate with the ghost and they're like, oh no, it's being blocked by this other evil spirit, which kind of like blew the good ghost out of the way. Like something very clearly happened. And they're like, okay, so there's an evil spirit here. And they never kind of explain or figure out who that is, and I I assume it is either one of those two men that did the murdering in the past, or it's if we know that ghosts combo up now, it's the man ghost combo. And so it was a 2-2 tie for a while. Then he killed his wife, and now 3-2, and that's why they're powerful enough.
Wait, why are the men ghosts? Like, the men are murdering the women, and then when they die of old age, then they get trapped here, or what?
I think they killed themselves. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I don't actually know that.
I don't know either.
There's just been so many movies lately about murder-suicides, I'm getting confused.
It could be that it's more symbolism, and it's all about, here's where I'm going to go. I'm gonna make stuff up to make this deeper than it is, right?
Okay.
The reason the men aren't, the male ghosts aren't identified as individuals is because these women are fighting against the collective maleness of the world,
They're
right?
fighting the man.
They are fighting misogyny, essentially. And so that like male spirit that is trying to stop the first ghost from helping the wife before she becomes the second ghost. You know, it's really, it doesn't matter which man it is because it's all men.
Not all men, Sully.
It's all men.
Dang it.
Just
You got me
kidding.
with that one.
So, you know, maybe there was some of that going on. I don't know. It was not that deep of a movie. And it didn't need to be. It was entertaining the way it was.
Yeah, it was a beach read.
Yeah.
But it definitely had that kind of Lifetime movie style to it that was all about what a beanbag this guy is. And then there were ghosts that were like, oh, let's all join together. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I could see this actually being a movie on Lifetime, on the Lifetime channel.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, maybe except for the fact that there were a couple of kind of gory murders. Mostly when he hacked his wife up.
Yes, that was
Which-
gory.
I was not expecting. Did you know he was going to murder her?
He drugged her. So that, I thought maybe he was just going to poison her, but he only drugged her to make her unconscious, I guess, so that he could hack her to pieces, which
I
is
did
pretty
not
intense.
understand.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a ghost thing. Like that was him being guided by the male ghost
Yeah,
spirit.
see, it seems like there's an element of that, you know. It's, the original ghost pair was like this preacher guy, and what made his wife so evil? Like she did tarot or something? It was something that she wasn't a Calvinist or something.
Well, yeah, what was the other they were all, everyone in that town, in this little college town, was like they all followed,
Stephen Hawking.
no, it's like Stevenson or
Oh, Swedenborg?
yes, they were all followers of this spiritualist essentially.
Yeah.
And they read his book, and like everyone in this town are followers of this guy who is a spiritualist who has a book, and like they do seances and whatever. And this husband who comes in doesn't believe in this stuff. So that's like a setup, and like he
Yeah.
refuses to believe in ghosts and things like
You
that.
gotta
And then-
believe.
but then somehow he gets possessed. And I think that was what was up with the first wife, is that she was also a follower of this guy, this spiritualist, and her preacher husband didn't like it.
And don't forget that when he gets trapped in the painting at the end, the cross in the painting is upside down.
It is.
So just like it said in the Bible, damned George is. See, ghosts kind of, you know, they wear out. And so we've just got the middle ghost and her and the first ghost. That's why, you know, the evil force was just, whoosh, because they've worn out. They're not like people anymore. They're just... According to the synopsis on IMDb, I just want you to know that to avoid being arrested, George tries to escape on his cousin's boat. But that's ludicrous. Where is he going to go?
Also, who was trying to arrest him?
I don't know, just the idea that they would have caught on eventually, so I guess you need to get somewhere. But
Here's
a
the
boat
thing.
is not how you get to a new place.
Every other time his solution to almost being caught was to murder somebody.
Yeah,
like it's
he did
weird
a
to
lot of
me.
that.
It feels like flawed character behavior for him to suddenly decide that he has to run away, because that's not how he approaches conflict or trouble
No,
up until that point.
it felt very strange.
Yeah. Things Heard and Seen was much more in my like preferred genre
Mm-hmm.
than Longlegs, which is funny to me because I would not have expected that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was just the way it was handled and the level of, Longlegs was a dreary murder mystery out of Denmark.
Yeah.
And Things Heard and Seen was a Mary Higgins Clark movie playing on Lifetime Channel in the summer, like after you've been at the beach all day. Like it was a completely different style of thriller / horror. I think it had more horror in it. I would call this a horror movie, but horror light, I guess.
Yeah.
And it worked for me. Like, yeah, it was just a brainless watch that was entertaining enough. I don't think that there was anything spectacularly special about it. I think, like we already talked about, there was a lot of weakness in, like, it was trying to be something that it wasn't, but even in failing to be that kind of more dramatic, more symbolic thing, it managed to be a light, entertaining kind of a movie.
Yeah.
So I would give this 3 unplugged radios out of 5. I mean, it was middle of the road. I am not sad that I watched it, but I also have no desire to watch it again.
Okay. I can join you in the not sad that you watched it and don't need to watch it again. For me, it felt, it was all about that Reddit AITA drama of just watching how much worse and worse this guy could be. And that was entertaining. Where I felt very let down was the ending in general was just like, the ghosts randomly sort of defeated him, but not in any way we really saw. It just was like, okay, that's that.
Yeah.
And that was, very pointless feeling. And B, and like in a movie like this, if you're going to have ghosts like that, they need to use their powers to like make the murder weapon fall out on the floor in front of a cop or something. They need to do something that gets the guy. And they just stuck him in a painting in some sort of way that didn't make any sense. But that's where it all falls down for me is the ghosts, that they were just so, I don't know, floofy Lifetime ghosts. That part was just, it was just kind of getting in the way of the beanbag drama. So that's what I would have liked to see, is just beanbag drama, which would not have fit on our podcast.
True.
And that was enjoyable for what it was, though, to enjoy the drama, which gives me also 3 unplugged radios out of 5. Perfectly reasonable to watch, not really worth your time, but you can if you just want to chill.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I feel like it was just the right kind of movie for my mindset lately.
That's a concern for me. I want to have some fun movies.
Well, maybe the next one will be a fun movie.
It will be so fun.
Okay.
Found footage.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's do it.
Found footage?
Whatever.
Right now?
Whatever. We'll be back next week to talk about it, whatever it is.
We will talk. Unless we're not back next week.
Oh, yeah. I don't know when it will be. Maybe next week.
We'll try to be back next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Two more times?
They're dusty.
2 more times? You didn't do it right. You have to do it 2 more times. You have to do it 2 more times. You have to do it 2 more times. You didn't say no more times. I got to say 2 more times.
Your fingers are so blue.
I know. 2 more times.
I'm never going to do it. They're going to never do it any more times, and you're just going to live like that, undone. No more times.
Okay, thank you.
I'm never doing it.